India's Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said details of the deal cannot be disclosed as India had signed the secrecy pact with France. She said, and I'm quoting again, as per Article 10 of the intergovernmental agreement between the Government of India and the Government of France on the purchase of Rafale aircraft, the protection of the classified information and the material exchange under IGA is governed by the provisions of the security agreement signed between the two nations. The argument cuts no ice. Opposition leader Rahul Gandhi continued to mock the government and its defence. But is there substance to the Congress's attack? Is the Indian Defence Minister wrong in refusing to divulge details of the deal, citing the secrecy clause? Or was the minister at fault merely for having earlier promised that she would provide the necessary information? What's interesting is that the Congress is attacking an argument that it itself had provided when in power. It's worth noting what happened 5 years back when the Congress-led UPA was in government in New Delhi. In a written reply in the upper house of the Indian Parliament on the 6th of March 2013, 5 years back, the then Defence Minister, also Congress leader A.K. Antony, cited the secrecy clause under the Italian law to deny disclosure of information on the Augusta-Westland VVIP chopper deal, the helicopter deal. He said, and I quote, "Given the independence of the Italian judiciary from the executive and the preliminary investigation being covered by the secrecy clause under the Italian law, no concrete information was received." While it has put the opposition on the back foot, the question is how much water does the secrecy argument really hold? What is the truth? Is the government obliged to reveal how it spends the taxpayers' money when it goes for a mega defence deal? This is what we know. Secrecy in the name of national security is a norm around the world. The secrecy clause is an accepted and inherent part of multi-million-dollar defence deals. In the name of national security, most defence pacts are shielded from the Right to Information Act. Just last year, Turkey's Defence Procurement Office had refused to disclose details of a contract with Russia for acquisition and deployment of the Russian S-400 long-range air and anti-missile defence system. It said the details could not be disclosed because of secrecy clauses in the contract. The case is similar in most countries across the world, and that does not necessarily make it right. And most certainly, we haven't heard the last of this debate in India. But beyond the political debate, the deal per se is very, very significant. Here's a look at the Rafale aircraft deal and why it matters for the Indian forces.
It took nearly a decade for India to acquire the Rafale jet for the Indian Air Force. In fact, when this aircraft enters service with the Indian Air Force, there will be no fighter in service with Pakistan or China which will be capable of hitting targets as deep in enemy territory. The Rafale is a twin-engine medium multi-role combat aircraft manufactured by Dassault Aviation, a French company. It is capable of performing a wide range of combat roles which includes ground support, air supremacy and nuclear deterrence. India secured the Rafale deal after long negotiations. The Indian Air Force has expressed the need of additional aircraft since 2001, but the process to acquire a new fighter aircraft only began in 2007. Rafale was given a contract after 6 leading aircraft manufacturers competed to clinch the deal. Though the initial contract was to buy 126 jets, the Indian government scaled it down to 36 off-the-shelf fighter jets. While there is a secrecy clause that guards the fine print of the deal, back in 2016, the Indian government had told the lower house of parliament that each Rafale aircraft will cost the exchequer around 670 crores, which includes the equipment, services and weapons required for a single fighter. It is the cost factor which has become a subject of political war in India. India's main opposition party, the Congress, claims that the UPA government had managed to secure a cheaper deal for the Rafale from the French. According to the numbers put out by the French Senate, acquiring a single unit of the most advanced Rafale should cost more than 500 crores. But here's the key to the India story. The additional cost paid by the Indian government includes certain modifications that have been made specially for the Indian Air Force. Besides France, Egypt and Qatar are 2 other countries that use the Rafale fighters. Just like the Indian government, both Egypt and Qatar have kept the fine print of their deals a secret. But they ended up paying prices similar to or higher than the Indian Air Force. The Rafale will join the Indian Air Force by April 2022. It will replace 14 obsolete MiG-21s and MiG-27s which were brought from the Russians. The MiG aircraft became infamous after a series of crashes in the last decade and a half. Many critics have often raised the request to retire the MiG aircraft. Bureau Report, WION.